Good morning, dear students. I am Vishram Singh Meena, Assistant Professor English working at Government PG College, Karoli. The lecture of the day is meant for the students of BA Part 3rd. We were studying the poem entitled Birches. As we know that Birches is one of the finest poems written by Robert Frost. The poem was published in 1916 in Mountain Interval, a volume of poems. Robert Frost is an American poet who is like William Wordsworth because he takes interest in nature. He begins in delight but ends in wisdom. Uh, it is told or it is said about poetry of Robert Frost. Watches is very fine piece of poetry. We have studied 41 lines in the poem. Now we have to begin with the line number 42. He always kept his poise to the top branches, climbing carefully with the same pains you used to fill a cup up to the brim and even above the brim. Then he flung outward, feet first with a squeeze, kicking his way down through the air to the ground. So was I once myself a swinger of watches, and so I dream of going back to thee. Now the poet is reminding his past, in which he had been a swinger of watches. So we can find here personalism in the poem. The poet is giving an account of his past habits. He had been a swinger of watches. So was I once myself a swinger of watches, and so I dream of going back to it. And now the poet is so much tired of anxieties, depressions, and so many other kind of worries of the world. He wants to be a swinger watches again in his life. And so I dream of going back to be. It's when I am weary of considerations. He says that he wants to be a swinger of watches when he gets tired of considerations. Considerations means problems, anxieties, depressions, and the other kind of misfortunes of life. Because life is full of struggles, it it is not a cakewalk. We have to face many problems during our lives. It is when I am weary of considerations and life is too much like a pathless wood. The poet gives here an example of a simile. He says that life is like a pathless wood. Pathless means wayless. There is no way out. So the world is the wood which has no path to get out of worries, difficulties, and anxieties of life. Where your face burns, where your face burns, and tickles the cowways broken across it. The poet here compares life to the wood which has no path to come out. He says that he says that where your face burns and with the cowways where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs broken across it, and one eye is weeping. Now, the poet is describing the sorrows of life, that life is like the wood, which is full of many kinds of worry, anxiety, and depression. Here we have to face, just like you go into the forest and your one eye is tickled with the twig of the tree, then you have to drop your tails. So is case with the life is full of these twigs. Twigs means here problems, and these problems make you weep, make you sadden. So that is the idea of the poem here we find. From a twigs having less across it open, I would like to get away from earth while and then come back to it and begin over. The poet wants to say that he is uh, tired of worries and problems of life, so he wants to go away. He wants to go away mm, from earth, from the world. But he doesn't want to go away forever, because he thinks that the earth is the right place for love. There is no better place than earth. From a twigs having lashed across it open, I'd like to get away from earth a while and then come back to it and begin over. So he wants to be a swinger of birches, just like a swinger of birches who leaves the earth for a while and goes to the top of the tree. But he comes back again. So is the case with the poet. The poet wants to leave the world, but he wants to leave the world to get refreshed, uh, and he doesn't want to leave it forever. He wants to come back again. May no fate willfully misunderstand me. He is in doubt. He says that lest the fate means God should grant his half of wish. If fate grants his half wish, then it will be very, very bad for him, because he will not able to come back again on earth while he is very interested in earthly activities. However, he knows that the world is full of worries, full of problems, full of anxieties, but it doesn't matter for him. He wants to live, or wants to spend his life on earth. May not fate willfully misunderstand me and half grant what I wish and snatch me away, not to return. Earth is the right place for love. He thinks that earth is the right place for love, otherwise, there is no better place in the world than earth. I don't know where it is likely go better. I would like to go while climbing a birch tree. So the poet says that he wants to be a swinger of birches. He doesn't want to leave the world forever. Just like a swinger of birches who leaves the earth for some time and comes back again after some minutes or some seconds, we can call. I don't know where it's likely to go better. I would like to go by climbing a birch tree and climb black branches up a snow-white trunk towards heaven till the tree could bear no more. The poet is very interested in swinging activities of birches. That's why he says that he wants to be a swinger of the birches whose trunk has been covered with the ice and climb black branches up a snow-white trunk towards heaven, till the tree could bear no more, but dipped its top and set me down again. The poet wants to say that he wants to ride on a birch tree which takes him towards heaven for some time, but uh, takes him down to earth after some time. So that kind of activity he wants to do because he doesn't want to leave the world forever. The poem is in symbols. Watch is the symbol. Uh, Life is nothing but wood here in the poem, and branches which tickles in the eye of the poet is nothing but the problem and anxiety of life. What he says that he is not so much horrified with the worries of life. However, he is tired of these problems, but he wants to leave these worldly problems for some time to get a refreshed. But dipped its top and set me down again. That would be good, both going and coming back. The poet says here that this kind of activity of swinging will be better for him. He is going towards heaven and now coming back to earth. One could do worse than be a swinger of watches. So he wants to be a swinger of watches in the end of the poem. The poem begins in delight, but it ends in wisdom here. That is the special character of the poetry of Robert Frost, who is an American nature poet. That's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.